Cheers and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general, and public service. Today is our 200th episode, and I'm joined by Ken Yasger, hopeful for governor of Georgia. What cycle are you running in? 26?
2026, yes.
And Kemp is in right now?
Yeah, Governor Kemp, he's term limited, so we're not sure what he's going to be doing with his political future.
Right.
But we're all speculating what he's doing.
Okay, gotcha. Well, coming up today on this episode, we're going to get into that a little bit. But first, a little housekeeping. You'll see the setup's a little different because Kelly isn't here. He's a little under the weather. I hope he didn't get it from me last week. I hope I didn't kill him. Get well soon, sir. Also, we're brought to you by Thai Bean Coffee. Cool off with a hot latte or warm up with an iced latte. Tybee Island, Georgia. Thank you very much, Kim. So, I got you all drinking here. There we go. Ken, is this your first time running for office?
No. So back in 2020, I was on the ballot for the U.S. House, but COVID kind of killed all that off. But my first actual campaign was in 2022. I ran for the Georgia State Senate in the Republican primary.
I was going to say because governor is a pretty high jump.
It is.
If it was your first.
It is.
Right. So, and what was the impetus for running for Senate in the first place?
So I wanted to run for the state Senate just because it was an open primary seat. The current state senator, Lester Jackson, was running for statewide office. And so it was an open primary on both sides. But the second district in the Georgia State Senate is a very, very liberal Democrat district. So usually there's not a Republican to run against Lester Jackson. But since it was an open primary, there were two Democrats running and two Republicans. And so I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring because I lived in the district and
gotcha.
I had some friends who told me about it, and they encouraged me to run for that.
And was the intent maybe getting a foot in the door, not necessarily in let me show them how cool I am sort of thing, but like starting to understand how to run, what it takes to run, who's going to side with you or who's going to agree with you, and if you could make any connections within it. Did you have any thought that you would possibly win is what I'm saying?
No, honestly, no.
Okay, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because I initially started as an independent.
Sure.
But the problem with that is the state of Georgia is it's probably one of the top 5 hardest states to get on the ballot as a third-party candidate or independent candidate. Even the Libertarian Party in the state of Georgia is not a party. It's a political organization. So the Libertarian Party doesn't even have primaries to get on the ballot. They have to go through what independents have to do, gain signatures, while the Republican and Democratic parties, in 2026, I'll pay $5,000, I'm on the ballot. The Democratic Party does the same thing. Libertarians, they have to get signatures, they have to get qualified, and then they're on the ballot as a third party.
Is that because Georgia's antiquated in the whole party system?
We are a two-party state. Some states, it's easier to get on the ballot as a third party because they recognize them as parties. In the state of Georgia, they refuse to.
So is that just some more archaic, bygone thing where it's like, hey, don't let them in?
We are a two-party system. And that being said, let's say I continue. So I ran as a Republican for the state Senate in 2022 because I had a lot of Republican friends who just liked my message and said, you can't make a change if you're not on the ballot, and you cannot get on the ballot without being one of the two parties. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Democrat, sorry. But so you have to pick a side. So I had some friends convince me to get on the ballot as a Republican. That's why I was actually on the ballot. And I did run in the Republican primary.
Well, typically do you align with the Republican sensibility? Yes. Or more centered and then skewed towards Republican, or was it just a function of getting on the ballot?
I am a what I call a real Republican, an old school anti-big government Republican. Too many Republicans nowadays, they just fall in line with Democrats and Republicans. They want the federal government to take care of certain things, but not other things. I want less government control in every aspect. But a lot of Republicans nowadays, they're very anti-federal government, until you agree with them. Then they want the federal government. It doesn't work that way.
So there's a pretty hard party lines, is what you're saying.
Very hard party lines.
And since there's no wiggle room or no nuance or gray area, then it's sort of hard to. It's the teamsmanship aspect of it. I think
it's disgusting.
Is crazy.
It's disgusting
because you would think, especially in today's current climate, that people would want to be a little more individual and stand out a little bit more and be perceived as or even just thought of as smart or unique ideas or a new approach. But it seems like people who are running are fearful of that, because if you're not, just like getting on the ballot in Georgia, if you're not aligned with a party in some sort of way, then
and now here's the problem.
The road's harder.
There are different factions of the Republican Party, just like the Democratic Party.
Sure.
So I am a Republican. I've always been a Republican. Back when I lived in Illinois when I was a kid, when I first registered to vote, I registered as a Republican, because in the state of Illinois, you have to register with a party, and you have to vote in that party's primaries. In the state of Georgia, we have what we call open primaries. So you just register to vote. You don't have to claim to be a Democrat, independent, or Republican.
That seems a little more progressive than not allowing independents in without signatures.
Then you can vote in whatever primary you prefer to.
Okay.
So the problem is, though, there are different factions of the Republican Party. I am very critical of every politician, and that includes the president, President Trump. There's a big conservative MAGA faction of the Republican Party that, because I criticize what the president does in certain aspects, even though I voted for him, I get called a RINO. RINO, Republican in name only, which technically it's just a name anyways, in my opinion.
Right.
So I'm what I call a proud RINO, okay?
Right, gotcha.
Because you can be the better Republican, I'll be the better American. That's the way I look at it.
And typically Republicans hate a good acronym.
Oh, they 100%, like literally, yeah. So I'm just like, I take that as a good thing. But there's a faction of the Republican Party called the Georgia Republican Assembly. They're far right to the point. Birth control is abortion. They want the Supreme Court ruling on gay marriage overturned. And then if that happens, gay marriage is actually illegal in the Georgia state constitution. Back in 2004, we passed a constitutional amendment banning gay marriage in Georgia. Well, in 2015, that was overturned. And then if the Supreme Court overruled gay marriage, then all marriages that happened since 2015 in the state of Georgia would be annulled. Never happened. And this far right faction, they also want us to, it's called the accountability rule. The state party would be able to vote on what Republicans can run in the primary. They're trying to ban certain people from running as Republicans, and I would be included because of my moderate views on certain issues.
Sure. And as a gay man, aligning with the Republican Party just in general. Now, I understood there's factions and shit like that. But do you have to shake your head sometimes? Like, come on, guys.
So what's funny is the majority of the Republican Party, they don't care about gay marriage anymore. It's just the far right faction of it.
So
most people don't care.
I figured it was the extreme ends of it.
No, if we had another vote in the state of Georgia, another referendum where the people could vote on gay marriage in the Constitution again, they would vote to legalize it. The people would, in my personal opinion.
Well, so I think that speaks to the division, and I'm not talking about media necessarily. I'm just talking about most people's personal perceptions of things, because they only hear the loudest minor voices of things. Mm-hmm. So people would perceive that all Republicans don't want gays to be married, and all Democrats want gays to be married. Exactly. Which it's just
not a fact.
Absolutely not a fact.
No.
But we perceive it as such because there's very loud voices that aren't moderate. And as much as both sides hate extremists in name, there's a lot of extremists.
And in 2022, my state Senate race, I will say I got over 3,000 votes, and I lost my primary to a far-right Republican by only 796 votes. And he'd been running for office for 15 years. He was almost double my age, and I came pretty close to beating him in the primary. Now, that being said, if I won the primary, I would have lost the general election to our current state senator, Derek Mallow, which he's too far left for me. He's a Democrat, but he's a genuine human being, and I've met him. He's a nice guy. But I would have lost the primary to him because it's Chatham County. It's so Democrat. So blue. Because there are going to be people, no matter who you are, they're going to vote Democrat. And then same thing with other certain areas of the state, they're going to vote Republican. So like I said, my 2020, but in 2022, the Republican primary, we only had like a 12% voter turnout. So people don't vote in primaries. That's my problem. The majority of the people are in the middle. and they skew left or right.
Sure.
But they don't vote in primaries. They vote in the general election. So my goal in 2026 is I want to make that 12% voter turnout in the Republican primary. Let's make that 18, because I know that 6% is only going out because I'm on the ballot. I want to bring out those new voters. I'm not necessarily looking for the hardline Republicans who vote in every election. I want to give people a reason to vote. I want to look at somebody who's never voted in their life, and I want to look at them, and because I encourage voting. I drive anybody to the polls no matter who you're voting for. When I was deployed last year, there were some very openly anti-Trump people that I was deployed with, and I still got them absentee ballots to vote in the general election last year because I truly want you to vote. But the same people who don't vote, I want to be able to look at them and be like, I get why you don't vote, because the only people that have been on the ballot are the people I'm running against. Well, now I'm here, and I want to win over those kind of people.
How much do you, especially in Georgia, how much do you think the evangelical bent has towards voters' proclivities? Because I know that on both sides, there's a huge contingent of religious voters in terms of if they believe that their candidate is, I don't know, a zealot or whatever. But it seems like, especially along party lines, there is the thing of, well, we only vote if we know this man or woman's denomination of Christianity. Do you feel that generally?
We do have a big evangelical population, but it's not as far to the right as some other states are, like Iowa.
So it's not affecting their vote as much as I think it is.
It is not.
Okay.
I will give you that. It is not. Absolutely not.
That's what I was wondering.
A lot of evangelicals do believe in separation of church and state, and as long as you are, I feel like as long as you are in it to do good for the people, a lot of evangelicals will be able to look away from certain differences that you have and vote on their on policy over religion, because a lot of especially Republicans do believe in the Constitution for the country, the Bible for your morals. But there are a bunch of Republicans out there that are Christian nationalists, and I think that's dangerous because I don't believe that religion should be making laws. I've deployed to the Middle East 4 times. I've deployed to the Middle East in countries where now that the Taliban have taken over Afghanistan again, me as a tatted gay man, I would only live long enough for them to find a building to throw me off of.
Yep.
And that's because a religion runs that country.
Yeah, exactly.
But just because Christianity is the major religion in our country doesn't mean that our religion should be making laws either. It should. The way I look at it is my religion. I'm a Christian. My religion and my faith in Jesus, it needs to direct my morals, but it does not need to make laws. If that makes sense.
No, I absolutely agree. It might inform your decisions on what you think is, positive or negative,
yes,
but not necessarily what's good for all.
I would prefer my religion not make laws, but instead, I truly mean this when I say it, and I do live my life this way. I do believe that I'm going to heaven one day, but I don't live my life in order to get to heaven. I want to live my life in order to make sure that people aren't living their own hell while
I hate that thing where it's like I'm just trying to cash my ticket to heaven today.
Hell on earth can be.
I'm not doing this for the clear morality of anything.
Exactly.
It's hopefully I can curate my time in the afterlife, which is as archaic as it is. It's a very human nature thing.
It is.
People are afraid of what happens when you die. I get it. That's the generations long question. What happens when you close them eyes last time?
See, and my thing is, I have faith that that's going to happen. There's heaven and there's hell. I have faith in that. Not everybody believes that, though.
Right.
So the only thing that I can do is I know what I can, by what I've read in the Bible, I know what hell's going to be like. And I've been through hell on earth. And there are people going through hell on earth. And instead of living my life just for myself and to get to heaven, I'm trying to help those people not live that hell on earth because it's eternal and it sucks. And I'd rather bring them up and bring them on the same level as me instead of leaving them down where they're at. Because that's not something that we should be doing as Christians, as Americans, as people.
So that seems like a unique view to me personally, only because there is a divisive nature, not just talking about religion-wise, party-wise, sexuality-wise. It seems typically to me currently that it's more of a divisive thing now, finding anything to find a divide between whether it's party to party or factions of each party, just humans in general, that it seems in the political spectrum that the easiest way to separate yourself is to separate yourself.
Absolutely.
Which means not saying, oh, I'm different from these people. It's like, no, I'm this and they're that. Now you choose between one of us because this is right and that's wrong.
I actually think it's fantastic that I'm a right-leaning, moderate, but I'm a Republican, and I live in very blue Chatham County. I like that because I think our difference of opinions make us the greatest country in the world. I like that I surround myself with people who disagree with me because it makes me think and helps me debate my points to a point where instead of looking in a mirror and talking to myself, it helps me solidify my viewpoints and have to articulate them in a different way when I'm actually talking to people who are educated but on the other side of the aisle
and care to actually have the conversation
and have a conversation.
The thing about the conversation is most people, if we're talking and I think you're trying to change my mind about something, nothing's ever going to work because people don't want their minds changed necessarily. They would rather talk. If their minds do change throughout a conversation, then that's fine. But I feel where most people people running for anything kind of fuck up is I'm going to, no, this is what it is. And I'm going to change your 100%. Mind about it. I'm going to make you feel how I feel. When there is a middle ground with any argument or any policy or anything that you could have, be like, agree to disagree, but I understand why we're doing this.
See, what I'm trying to do with my campaign as well is I'm trying to make compromise not a dirty word anymore. Compromise has never been a dirty word in our history up until recently.
It's not
you
don't
have to give in to compromise. No. That's the difference. People think that compromise means giving in. That's not what we're doing. It's just I'm not saying all or nothing. I want to look at you, know that we have differing opinions, and actually come to a common sense solution that's gonna help that majority, not just your side of the political aisle. Because we've seen Democrats and Republicans at the federal level do it, and all it does is divide.
100%. And it seems like it's like the lowest hanging fruit of how to drive your base to
divide and conquer. That's what they want to do.
I mean, it's
the best example for me is Obama and Trump. President Obama and President Trump have this to say about each other on camera, especially during the campaign. But at Jimmy Carter's funeral, they were so buddy-buddy. I'm going to be honest with you. There aren't many people that I dislike. Most of them are politicians, though. And if I don't like you, I'm not going to be your buddy. I will not be talking to you on a regular basis, just like we're friends. No, if I call you a Nazi like Obama called Trump, I'm not going to talk to him.
Right, yeah.
Yet here they are talking to each other like they're best friends.
Well,
while all of us simple people down here are just divided because of what they said on the campaign trail.
Because of what they said on camera to each other when everyone knows it's like, that's not the game, baby.
Exactly.
They play the game at a much higher level.
It's left Twix and right Twix.
100%.
It's the same freaking thing. It's the same factory. They just say different things.
So along those lines, a few years ago, I made a fake character. His name was Duke McAuther. And I ran for mayor down here one time. As a lark, obviously wasn't serious. I got some write-in votes. But it was an interesting social study for me.
Yeah.
Because, so I made the character, and he was an absolute caricature of everything I heard from locals and or national politicians or anything, like I was just going hard on everything, very bombastic and just a pure caricature. And a lot of the feedback, all right, so there's two sides of feedback. It wasn't 50-50, but it was just two forms of feedback I got. One was people that got the joke. They're like, I kind of know who you're referencing here, or I know what you're referencing here, in this very highly caricaturized way. And then there's another section of people that were like, hell yeah, brother, that didn't get the joke. So I was like, as clear as I thought I was that this was a caricature of all politicians, I wasn't leaning to one side or the other. I was doing it all. And I was like, as clear as I thought I was being, some people were like, I like what you said. I'm like, I didn't say anything. I was literally bullshitting these people. So as you come along wanting to sort of espouse your policies or disseminate what you want to accomplish were you to be elected, do you find it, you can't assume everyone's stupid, but you also can't assume everyone's smart and gets it. Have you found it hard to sort of relay your message? Or how about this? Let's do this. What would be your elevator pitch at policy wise, and what you would run on if you got in the elevator with someone who would, let's say, hire you for the position?
So what I tell people is, if I get up and just talk to somebody, you give me 30 seconds to a minute to talk to somebody.
Right.
My name's Ken Yasger. I'm running for governor. I'm running for governor because I actually care about people. I'm tired of the division on both sides. I'm not a Republican to keep Georgia red or stop Georgia from turning blue. I want Georgia to be red, white, and blue. I want Georgia to be what a united state is supposed to be within the United States. There's a reason that so many people move here for business. There's so many people that come to Georgia because we are the greatest state in the country. I'm tired of the divisiveness. I want Georgia to be united, Republicans and Democrats getting things done for all of Georgians, not just your side of the political aisle. I think it's fantastic that Georgia is more purple on the federal side because that's going to make our politicians come together. I want to be a Republican governor who looks at the Republican legislature and says, I will veto everything you push to me until you work with the Democrats to do a few things that are going to help everybody, not just Republicans. Republicans don't have power. The Americans have power. The Georgians have power. And I want to make sure that our legislature works for all of Georgians, not just Republicans.
I think I hear cheering in the distance. Well done. Yeah, so I'm glad you have a ready to go elevator pitch, because I'm sure you have to rattle that thing off.
Well, I wish I did it more, but yeah.
Okay, I got you. Well, yeah. Well,
the biggest problem for me is I'm not a $10 million politician.
Gotcha.
I'm a bartender on Tybee Island, and I'm just doing this because I actually do love people.
Well, think about how much human nature and the human proclivity that you learn about being in the position of bartending and serving.
100%.
Because it's, as much as people try and say that you shouldn't talk about politics, religion, whatever at a bar, that's the only fucking talk about a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I overhear it all the time.
Yep.
And what I mostly overhear is misguided misinformation.
Absolutely.
And so being on the ground level as a person who is running, being on the ground level, hearing that stuff, it sort of gives you a guideline of like, oh, there's certain people that are only going to hear certain things from certain people. They're not listening to an overall view of what's happening. It's like, oh, this guy said it, so that's what it is now. Is that disheartening in a way for you, or does it make you want to reach that person a little bit?
Reach
more?
The person, because the majority of people that I've met since being back from deployment and getting back to work is I wear a Ken for Governor shirt every time I work.
Yeah.
And people actually, and then there are stickers all over Huckapoos and all that.
Yeah.
And so people actually ask me,
great.
You're Ken? I'm like, yeah, I'm running for governor. And then I'll give them a little speech really quick.
Yeah.
And people actually are willing to listen.
Face to face, right?
Face to face.
And that's the dichotomy I wanted to get to at the bar. It happens all the time. Yeah. Someone sits down and I know that I'm diametrically opposed to them.
Yep.
I mean, like literal Trump hat, whatever. And just like, you know what queers need to do? All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'll hear this awful stuff. I'll talk to them for 5 minutes. And it's like, hey, look, not a lot of us are all that different. I found some commonalities with you.
Yep.
People just feel like, I think, that they have to sort of espouse like just the most fringe or extreme ideas so that they make sure that they've separated themselves from something else.
Here's the problem is a really good thing about meeting different people at the bar is once I get done talking to them, don't worry. This young, blonde, white, straight girl, everything about Republicans are bad. She's very liberal, very woke. She's trying to play the woke card, right? All these young millennials. My generation's the worst. We're these stupid millennials, all right? I know that she does not like Republicans and she does not like Trump. But when I get done talking to these people, this has happened on several occasions. They have looked at me and said, wow, I have never thought I could ever like a Republican in my life. I think I could actually vote for you.
Okay, because you were not trying to talk them into thinking the way that you think or
all.
liking what you like.
Not at
They
all.
spoke to a person who was on a different side that they perceived was on a different side of them. They're like, holy shit. A human just talked to a human.
Yes.
We're the human race, baby.
The last YouTube video that I made, a woman who I used to work with at Crab Shack, very liberal, sweetheart. Yeah. She commented on the YouTube video on Facebook when I posted it. She said she agreed with everything I said in the video, long comment. She remembers when she was sick one time when I was working at Crab Shack. I came to the hospital with flowers, kneeled next to her bedside, and said, "You're going to be fine."
You would do that for a liberal? Oh my God!
And then she said, in the comment, "The only thing I disagree with is that you said you voted for Trump, but I love you," and da da da.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for. But the problem is, a lot of let's say I got some name recognition and I became a viable candidate, hopefully in the next year and 2 months before the primary for this governor's race. My opponents would look at me saying that and say, "See, Democrats like him because he's a Democrat." No, I'm an American who can actually bring people together. But in the primaries, it's just about making you the enemy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's about turning you. It's putting me on the other side of that line you talked about.
That's what. Yeah.
Because I am a Republican, but I'm not Republican enough for them. So now I'm a liberal Democrat.
Of course, yeah. There's no nuance.
There's no middle ground, especially in the
not.
primaries.
How dare you?
Exactly.
What the? And especially along those lines, seeing a comment like that on your YouTube video, which we'll put a link to your YouTube channel in the description, but that's probably 1% of any positive thing you would ever hear. Do you read comments?
I do. I've gotten very good at not responding. I've gotten very good at not responding.
I do ostensibly a comedy podcast about fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And some of the shit I get, I'm like, guys. I mean, I don't answer. I don't,
My problem is I do answer too many times. But here we go. When I was deployed, I posted a very moderate status, and I was and I criticized President Trump and at the time President Biden. It was before the election. Yeah. I got called a far-right Nazi and a liberal Democrat in the same comment section. Because it was just a moderate status criticizing both sides. And I was like, okay, so I think I'm doing something right now.
Yep, right.
I'm okay with I love that.
Do you think it's them willfully being uninformed, or is it just... Now, there's a thing when you're kind of not necessarily anonymous on the internet, but in a comment section, you're not having to say that face-to-face to anyone.
100%.
You're awful fucking
There's
comments.
one person that he has said some very, very horrible things in my comment section. I used to work with him. I don't work with him anymore.
Yeah.
But I've seen him since then because he lives in Savannah.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, "Hey,
what's
Ken,
up,
how
dude?
you doing, buddy?" I'm like, "Oh, look at you. That's adorable."
Yeah,
like,
I know, yeah.
It's so cute. But
what a guy.
always in the comment section, he's always trashing.
There's a lot of people.
He's one of the far MAGA people.
Oh,
and
right.
I'm just a Republican who voted for Trump 3 times.
Right.
But I am willing to criticize. Any criticism, whether you vote for somebody or not, if you criticize them, you are the enemy.
Yeah, there's only right and wrong.
There's always right and wrong, apparently. Yeah, right.
That's it. There is no nuance. Is one of your platforms the TikTok thirst post?
What do you mean?
So I'll follow you on social media.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, "Hey, what's happening? Ken Yasger for governor here."
Oh, I'm okay. My fitness is a big part of my campaign. All right, health and fitness, and that's why I was a big RFK fan leading up to the election, and I like that he's the health and service health. The HHS secretary, because I think fitness is a big part of my campaign. The more physically healthy we are, the more mentally healthy we are, and the less burden on the healthcare system it is.
Also, I think
I'm not gonna lie, I'm 35. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life, and so I'm gonna.
The thing about health as
people.
well, I don't see people in those comment sections doing a lot of exercising. I don't think, because if you exercise all those fucking demons out, you're not going to take the time to be like, "Let me type this out," because I feel amazing right now because I've drank water all day and did a 5K.
Yeah,
they're not typing shit like that. People who are physically well off, which in turn makes them mentally well off. So does that? What's your moving forward besides doing interviews with a guy like me who gets people
best
elected?
podcast there is.
I mean, come on, man. I know a mayor or two. But outside of that, what do you think your approach is going to be? I mean, I know social media is going to have to be a part of it, but everyone does social media. So take that off the table. You did a march to the state capitol a while back?
Yeah, in 2023, I'm doing another one this coming Saturday.
And that's to raise awareness for
veterans.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is... most of it is I'm doing physical challenges that no politician's ever done before, because like I said, I don't have that $10 million to just get my name out there. So I have to, I'm going to be doing different things.
You got to be out there on the streets,
I'm going to be doing different things. And so somebody actually asked me, they were like, so are you willing to walk door to door? And I said, I can do you one up. I can walk city to city across the entire state. I put in my announcement video, I said this coming Saturday, I'm going to start at the state capitol steps at 8 a.m. and I'm walking 650 to 750 miles across the entire state. I'm going from Atlanta down to Waycross, up to Savannah, Statesboro, Augusta, Athens, back down to the state capitol steps. And then every time I do a physical challenging fundraiser and I raise money, I donate it to a nonprofit or a charity. Well, this coming March, half of it's going to stay with the campaign because, like I said, it's $5,000 to even get on the ballot. So I do need to raise some funds for the campaign. But I'm donating the rest to the American Legion up in Statesboro, the Dexter Allen Post 90, because they do a lot for veterans. But I will be, during the entire month of March, I'll be living like a homeless person, and it's going to be to raise awareness for homeless veterans.
There you go.
Because I truly believe that if you don't actually put yourself in somebody's shoes, you don't know what they're going through. And I've had the privilege in my life never to be homeless.
Right.
And so for a month, I'm going to be living
Well,
homeless.
that sort of begs the question for me. And my dad was in the military. He was in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And but he got out. He was basically okay, except for multiple myeloma that he got from Agent Orange. But there's a thing in this country for veterans, right? Mm-hmm. Where I'm like, I like when people donate to charities and stuff, But it's like, should we have to donate to a charity to house our military veterans or to help them?
The way I look at it is,
or the wounded.
The government.
Come on, man.
The government needs to do more. But the way I look at it is if more people who were well off did donate, we wouldn't have to rely on the government so much. Because the way I look at it is if the more power the government has and the more the government gives us, the more they're able to say, well, now you have to give me something back. And they're going to do that.
I understand.
That's why I'm against the federal government overall.
I get that, but
it's a necessary evil.
I kind of disagree a little bit just because, like, an individual went over, lost his legs, or lost his mind in service of the country, and then it's like, hopefully the Wounded Warrior Project will help you out. Hopefully this charity will help you out. And
the government needs to give to those kind of organizations, but it's better that the civilian-led organizations are actually doing the work instead of the government.
We can agree on that.
Yes.
We can agree on that
because the government is not going to do anything.
I don't want the government to dispense anything for me.
Exactly.
Because I don't trust them to dispense what's good for my well-being.
Here we go. Let's like healthcare. Now this is a little off topic, but it's still on top of government control. Sure. I watch a lot of fitness videos on YouTube, and there's a guy named Jesse James West. He's a fitness influencer who goes to different countries. One of them, he did the teen steroid epidemic, and then he went to the UK where steroids are legal. Then he just went to a country where bodybuilding is pretty much illegal. They have nationalized medicine in Sweden. And because they have nationalized medicine, anabolic steroids are illegal, which they are illegal in the United States too. And I'm not saying they should be legal, don't get me wrong. But in Sweden, if you are too big and a police officer thinks you might be on anabolic steroids, because that may hurt your health, they can arrest you, take you to the police station,
and drug test you
for anabolic steroids on the spot. And we think we're losing rights in America, but because their healthcare is free, they're able to do that. Like I said, I want less government. And I think civilians and local charities can help veterans in that area better. But the federal government does need to give more money. But the problem is if they give money, they want more control, and I don't like that.
No, understood. But I 100% agree that the dispensing of services for veterans and stuff should be done on a more localized level, but the federal government should be funding that.
Somebody asked me though, because I care about the homeless so much, and I have made a post recently how I don't like how Savannah is treating our homeless. We're actually busing them to different counties. That's actually a fact that can be proven, and I think that's disgusting. That's not fixing the homeless problem. That's just dispensing them to different areas.
That's the Fidel Castro method.
Literally, honestly, I think the way Chatham's doing it is not correct. So somebody asked me, so if you were governor, what would you do? And my honest answer is I can't fix the homeless problem in Savannah or in different areas, but I can make sure that the state is going to fund certain communities to help their own. And the government, I wouldn't want the state government to control it, but you need to make sure these organizations are using the money in the right way too. So, but I would make sure that in any capacity that I could as governor, make sure that certain funds are getting to the most needed areas for the homeless,
and that the people dispensing
it's
it are
going to
vetted.
the right. It's going to the right places.
That it's that.
So I am a big give money, hands off approach person, and that's what I can do at the state level. I can't control the federal government, but that's if I was governor, that's what I would do on the state level.
It's a better idea, I think, and I think you're right that a person, in the capital of Georgia has no idea what it's like on the street here.
I mean, like I tell people all the time, that one of the reasons I'm running for governor is I'm tired of voting for people that say they remember what it was like to be one of us. How about we freaking vote for one of us?
Right. Exactly.
I went to Kroger yesterday and I filled up my gas tank 2 days ago and it's already half down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be filling up my own gas tank again soon. I can't tell you what percentage inflation is at, but I can tell you an 18-pack of eggs was $7.48 at Kroger the other day, because I actually am shopping with the people that are struggling. I'm paying my own rent.
You out there on the streets, man.
I'm not out there on the streets for votes. I'm out there on the streets because I live here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're working with me because you got to work.
Because I got to work. Somebody, one of the guys at the Crab Shack came into Huck Foods the other day, and he's like, "How are you affording this? Who's paying for your ruck march?" And I said, "Me. I have deployment money saved up, and so
see
I'm
that table over there?
Money.
They're paying for some of it.
They're paying for some of it. Yeah.
See that guy over there?
I'm working because I pay for my own campaign. I pay for my own life. I pay for my own stuff. Like I'm not trying to raise money. I can promise you this. I am going to be the only, and I'm not saying they're corrupt, but everybody who's going to be running for governor, Democrat and Republican, somebody is in their pockets. I will be the only candidate that doesn't have a single interest group or lobbyist in my pockets, and I can say whatever the hell I want.
So you won't be taking donations from...
I will never take a donation where they say, here's a donation, can you do this? That's not going to happen.
So that pretty much takes out everything except individuals, I guess.
The only donations I'm taking is during these physical challenges, and you know exactly where the money's going because almost all of it's going to be going to a charity or nonprofit. It is not going to be going in my pocket.
What branch military are you in?
I'm in the Army. I'm in the National Guard now.
National Guard, yeah.
I was active duty for 4 years, been in the Guard for 9.
Oh, nice. And deployed a few times?
4 times.
And the sense of the worldview that gives you, and like you mentioned before, you go to Afghanistan and you would be, strung up for being a gay man with tattoos, and all behind religion.
Absolutely.
Or all behind just the zealotry of, hey, this is what we think.
The extremist religion.
The extremist parts of it, yeah, of course.
Not all Islamic countries put to death gay
people.
So
I'm wondering about that because
I do want to put that out.
There's the typical thing.
I have some Muslim friends in the United States who are very Americanized. Let's just put it that way.
But like I said, there's this wide perception that that certain parties believe that all Islam and Muslims are extremists.
And it's because there was this group on Facebook that I didn't know, somebody added me to, and I left it because there's a woman, Representative Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, very far left liberal Democrat. I can't stand anything she says. I don't like her. But she's an American citizen. She's in the United States House of Representatives. A Republican congressman has put up a bill to get her deported. And in the comment section, that's a fact. And in the comment section of this article that was posted, a woman, and I did screenshot it just to show people this is what's ruining the Republican Party. And it's a woman that said this long ass comment, and then she said at the end, "We need to get all Islamists out of our government." That is so disgusting. That is so terrible. I don't not like Ilhan Omar because she's a Muslim. I don't like her because she's a far left lunatic Democrat to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of her policy issues.
Imagine if someone said we have to get all Episcopalians out.
Honestly,
it's literally the same thing.
Actually, one of the things that there were 3 laws that Savannah was actually built on, and a lot of people don't realize this. In 1733, it was the first planned city in the 13 colonies. The 3 laws were no liquor, only beer and wine, no Jews, and no Catholic services. And that was because the Catholic Church was oppressing people in England. And so that was their way of making sure that there was no Catholic oppression. That's crazy.
Right, yeah.
And so There's not just one religion that has had its bad moments.
Of course.
They've all had their bad moments.
Yeah.
What were the Crusades?
Everyone's been in a slump.
They've
all had a slump.
Didn't we justify slavery with religion?
Exactly,
I mean, come on, dog.
We've all had a slump.
I'm pretty sure we had some pretty messed up stuff in all of our past. All right, and that's one thing I tell people is with my legal past with DUIs and alcohol addiction and all that stuff. I tell people all the time, I'm willing to put myself out there to help other people because the United States of America, I truly believe, is the greatest country in the world, and I don't just believe that. I know it for a fact. There's a reason. There's that wall that we're debating down in the southern border. It's not to keep people in. It's to keep people out for a reason.
Right. Yeah.
All these people that say they hate the country, they're not leaving. They're still here. Yeah. Maybe Ellen DeGeneres left, but whatever. She doesn't count.
I think she got ran out for other
but
reasons.
But it's facts. But like I'm not. But all these immigration laws that we're talking about passing, it's because we're trying to keep people out, not keep people in. People aren't fleeing the United States of America.
It's weird. It's like trying to close the door after you got it. You're the last guy, and you're like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
No. This is the cutoff now.
Yeah. But my point is the fact that we're the greatest country in the world, and I want people to realize that. And the reason I'm so open about my past is I want to tell people the United States of America has done some really messed up stuff, but every single day we wake up as a country and say, what can we do to make ourselves better? And that's how I want to live my life. Every single day that I'm sober, that I thank God that I'm sober, I'm not trying to live in my past, but I'm trying to use my past to tell myself, this is what's happened. Now, what can I do better to fix this and help other people?
Yeah, well, you stopped drinking a while ago, right?
So I quit drinking in December 2022, relapsed in during the holidays 2023, early 2024, but I just hit a year sober January 2nd of this year.
Well done, so especially working in this industry.
So it's not, and
that's
that
the
being
trigger.
said, it's not for me though.
It's not.
It's
good.
Boredom, because alcohol addiction is a real thing.
100%.
It is a real struggle.
I might know a little bit about it.
Super Bowl Sunday, I had a really bad day, and I'll be honest, I left the gym and I was like, I had plans, they were canceled. Everybody has bad days, and I had my bad day, and I was like, all right, so
did you go type a comment on someone's political post?
No, but I almost went to the liquor store and went back to my apartment to watch the Super Bowl. But instead, I'm telling you, addiction is real. And I want to be as open as I can with people. So you know what I did instead? I drove to Huckapoo's and hung out. Because I know I'm not going to drink there, and there are a lot of people that love me and support me. And I stayed there until 7 o'clock. You know why? Liquor stores close on Sundays at 7 o'clock.
Oh, no, yeah.
And the temptation was gone.
And you know what? People might not recognize this, but as debaucherous as Huckapoo's is and can be, there's more support there.
They are the most supportive. They are such drunks, and they are the biggest supporters of my sobriety.
They're not like, come on, pussy, just have a drink.
They even understand the fact that I don't even take water shots anymore because I don't want people to think I'm taking a shot. And they support that too.
Isn't it weird?
Huckapoo's is a true family, and it is the greatest thing that God has ever blessed me with right now.
I agree with you.
I love everything about that place.
For what people, and think of people's perceptions of it. Oh, they push people downstairs, they're all drunks and all that, which a lot of it's true.
Yeah.
But you can walk up there and no one's going to be like, come on, you pussy, why aren't you drinking? Just take a shot.
I went up there to stay sober, and it worked.
I love that.
I literally went up there at Super Bowl Sunday because I was bored, was tempted, and I went up there to stay sober, and it happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
On Super Bowl Sunday too?
On Super Bowl Sunday.
Because
I literally thought to myself, I could just get a bottle, go back to my apartment, watch the Super Bowl. Nobody will ever know. And I said, no, I can't do that. I need to go.
Here's the real temptation there, exercise, man. The hot dog bar with all the toppings, was that a trigger? Did you?
Not even a little bit. No, I wasn't even tempted. Not even a little bit. No, not even a little bit. I didn't even want the food. No, I was still on my meal plan. I wasn't hungry. Like, no, I had my chicken and rice. I actually had my chicken and rice in the car, and I ate it on my way home. So, like, I really was eating chicken and rice on my way home from Huckapoo's. Like, no temptation.
Got a chicken UI. Is that chicken and rice you're eating there? Well, dude, I'm glad we got to talk because here's the thing, and you and I wanted you on because I one or two things. I don't give a shit what your politics are or anything like that. When it comes to whether we're friends or not, we've always had a fruitful relationship when it comes to any conversations that we have, whatever realm they may be in. Mm-hmm. Agree, disagree, whatever. But you're a human that is intelligent and that I like to talk to, and that I wanted to platform in some sort of way because as what we could agree or disagree on, we can always we can always talk to each other.
Yeah, 100%.
And I would like for that to be a little more generalized.
Absolutely.
With the people not only in our state or in our city, but in the country as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good place to start saying, we all don't have to agree, but we can still fucking talk to each other, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate it,
So
Paxton.
give me,
Thanks for having me on.
you got a website?
KenForGeorgia.com.
You're on social media?
They're all linked on my website.
Go to the website, kenforgeorgia.com.
KenForGeorgia.com.
Perfect, man. Thank you for coming on. And everyone, go to, at least give his website a look. Give him some likes on his social medias. And if you want to talk to him, you know where to find him sometimes. Just come on up to Huckapoos. All right, guys. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all next week.